Food products which you purchase from the supermarket, are they actually healthy and giving you a better health, or they are making you sick? Are you falling for any kind of a marketing gimmick, or you are actually doing a good choice for yourself and your family members? There is a nutrition label printed on the food products, but do you know how to read that? How to interpret that? If not, then stay tuned with me because we are going to discuss that in our today's topic. Namaste. My name is Dr. Tanvi Mayur Patel. I am an endocrinologist, hormone specialist doctor from Mumbai, India. Now before I begin this video, one important information. If you want to watch this video in Hindi language, then on the I button and in the description box there is a link. If you click on that link, then this video will be played in Hindi language for you. अगर आप इस वीडियो को हिंदी भाषा में देखना चाहते हैं तो ऊपर आई बटन पे और नीचे डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में एक लिंक है. अगर आप उस लिंक पे क्लिक करेंगे तो इस वीडियो को आप हिंदी भाषा में पाएंगे. So let's talk about the food labeling. Why is this important? And why it is important for me to talk to you about it? See, as a diabetes specialist doctor, when I talk to patient, they always tell that doctor, we choose all the food products which are zero sugar. Still my sugars are bad. Then it made me realize that I need to bring more awareness on this topic, and that's where we are going to discuss today. See, these nutrient labels are often very complex, often very confusing, and can be difficult to interpret because everyone is not a science graduate and they may not understand the scientific jargon language which is printed on the food labeling. So how to interpret that so that we take a right decision, we are going to discuss today. So when we talk about the food labeling, is it important? Answer is yes. The food labelings are very important because there are a lot of government regulations, and because of that every company has to put a food labeling. Now this kind of a food labeling also is important to take us a right decision to select what kind of food we want to select, and it will also help us analyze in the kind of a food which we consume. So yes, food labeling is very, very important. Okay. Now another point along with the food labeling is the front of the packet. See, front of the packet is one of the biggest marketing attempt by all the companies. Why? Because when you are actually going to purchase the product, a company A wants that it should stand out compared to the company B product, and in doing that, so they want to take all the efforts in trying to convince you to buy their product. And in this method of the convincing, they many of the times they put lot of health claims. Okay, the front of the packet, if it is attractive, it is in fact luring you to buy that product. Let's take an example. When you go to a supermarket, you see two products, company A and a company B. Which one will you choose? Of course, your answer will be the one which is attractive. Second, if the front of the packet has written all the health claims like a glucose free, lactose free, gluten free, zero added sugar, zero trans fat, low in calorie, of course we are going to get attracted and we are going to select that product compared to product B. So the front of the packaging is the biggest marketing. And in fact, many of the times the company may be correct in that, and many of the times the companies are very dishonest in that. If you turn the packet and then if you see all the information which is written hiddenly, you will realize that you have fallen a prey for the marketing gimmick. But in a supermarket, we are in a hurry to buy. And when we are in a hurry to buy, we usually don't pay attention to flip the page and actually see the packet details. And that's where the companies take a maximum advantage. So very simple example, if you see a product A mentions there's a zero sugar, and when you turn the product and if you see, the company might have written it contains artificial sugar, there will be sucralose, there is a fructose, there is a maple syrup, there is a corn syrup and blah blah. These are all nothing but a other form of a sugar. So actually it is not a zero sugar. Only thing is that it is not a conventional sugar, and that's where the companies take a maximum advantage. Another example, if you talk about the kind of the cornflakes which you get in the market, again they are fully loaded with the sugar. But if you see the front packaging, it shares a lot of other health claims. But the moment you turn around, you will realize the real truth. So that's what you should never fall prey for, the front packaging marketing. Second important information is the ingredient list. Yes. See, ingredients are the most important component of the food. And the ingredients are usually mentioned which are larger in quantity as a first, and the ingredients which are used in a very minimal quantity as a last. So if you don't understand all the ingredient list, at least you should pay attention to the first three ingredients. So if the first three ingredients mentions like a refined word or a oil, butter, hydrogenated oil or a sodium, understand that these food items are not healthy. Okay. If the food item ingredient mentions the word whole, that means it can be comparatively healthier option. Again, if the ingredient list is a very long 3 to 4 lines, that means there are a lot of additives have been added and the product is more processed. So again, you should pay attention to the ingredient list, right? Now the third important information is the nutrient label. Where do you find this label? These labels are usually found either on the side of the packaging or on the back side of the packaging. This nutrient label has lot of information and again lot of confusion. So how do we interpret that? The very first important part of the nutrient label is the serving information. There are 2 points in the serving information. First is the serving size and the second is the total number of serving per packet. Now this is often confused by the most of the people. What do we understand by serving size and the total number of servings? Let's take an example. If you buy a product which is of 200 grams, let's take an example of a biscuit packet of 200 grams. Okay. So total weight of the biscuit packet is 200 grams. If the serving size they mention is the 20 gram, that means 20 gram of the biscuit has all this information. Okay. Now serving information is most of the time are misinterpreted and they are confused by the companies. See, all the company wants that consumer should feel that their product is a less in calorie and a more healthy. And for that, most of the time they conventionally write a smaller serving size. However, serving sizes are standardized. If your product is a liquid, the serving size is usually written in either 100 ml or maybe 1 cup or maybe a 1 liter. And if the product is a solid by nature, then the serving size is usually 100 grams or maybe if it is a biscuits, maybe 2 or 4 biscuits. Okay, so serving size usually company write purposely smaller so that usually consumer feels that they are going to consume less calorie and a more healthy alternative. Many people also get confused that serving size is the size what they need to consume. Okay, however, that's not the true. Serving size in a reality is usually larger than what is written by the companies. So if the 20 gram is usually either there in 1 or maximum 2 biscuits, but in reality nobody eats 1 to 2 biscuits. People end up eating around 3 to 4 biscuits, and of course that increases the serving size. Okay. Many people also get confused by this serving size and they think that the nutrient label, all the detailed information which is mentioned is that of the whole packet and not for the one serving size. So many times people think that the calories are for the whole 200 grams of the packet and not for the one serving, and people consume the entire packet thinking that this has only this many calories. However, that is the mistake. Okay. Nowadays there are certain honest companies who measures the serving size with a dual column nutrient label. Now what is this dual column? So there are two columns which you will find. Column 1 will mention about the nutrient information per serving, and the column 2 will mention about the nutrient information for the entire packet. So by chance, if you consume the entire packet, you need to understand that you are going to consume this many calories. The people who pay a lot of attention and who are more aware on that, it is also beneficial for them because they do not have to do the mathematical calculation, and this dual column kind of a labeling, it increases the convenience of the consumer. So this is the first information in the nutrition label. The second important information is the calorie. See, whatever food we consume, that contains the calorie. And this calorie is usually expressed either in a kilocalorie, which you may find as a kcal, or a kilojoules or a kj. Okay, so the calorie is usually written in the nutrient label. See, how much calorie you need to consume, it varies. The calorie of a person depends on the age, the gender of the person. It depends on what is your status of your physical activity. Do you have any other associated health problem? If you are a woman, are you a pregnant woman or are you a lactating mother? So calorie requirement of a person keeps on changing. However, when you are talking about the health and focusing on your right amount of weight, you need to restrict your calories intake compared to what you are going to burn. So calorie information is also very important. So calories are again usually mentioned per serving. So if you make a mistake in understanding the serving size and the serving numbers, you will again make a mistake on the calorie. So this is something which you need to pay attention to. Third is the nutrients. Yes, the nutrients, that is the nutrient value of the food. See, all the food what we eat contains two major kind of nutrients. One is a macronutrient, which usually contains carbohydrate, protein and fat, and the second one is your micronutrient, which are usually vitamins, minerals and fibers. Okay, so you need to understand that what is a nutrient you are going to receive after consuming a food product. The nutrients which you should be getting more should be fiber, then vitamins, minerals, potassium, and the nutrient which you should be getting less should be a sodium, then the cholesterol, trans fat. So these are the nutrients which you should be watch out for. Fourth important information which you will get from the nutrient labeling is the percent daily value. Now what do we mean by this? This is a little tricky. See, how much nutrient you want in a day is called as a daily value. For an example, let's assume that you need a nutrient A 100 grams per day. So that is a requirement throughout 24 hours, and through all your meal and snacks you should be getting 100 grams. Okay. Now let's assume that one serving of that is giving you 10 grams. Okay. So your percent value will become 10%. That means out of 100 grams, when you eat one serving, you are getting 10 grams. That means 10%. So rest 90% you need to consume through your other means. So this is what we call it as a percent daily value, right? The food products which should be higher percent value are more than a 20. And in this we fall the categories like a fiber, calcium, vitamin D, iron, potassium. And the food with lesser percentage value are called as a low daily percent value, they are less than 5%. And in this includes a sugar, trans fat, cholesterol and sodium. Understand, usually the sodium and the trans fat and all, they do not have any percent daily value. So this percent daily value also you should be paying equal attention to. Nowadays, to increase the convenience of the consumer, many companies have started doing a color coding of the food label. So when you look at the food label at one glance, you can decide whether the food is healthy or not. So if the color is more of a green, that means the food is healthy. If it is an amber color, that means neither the food is healthy nor it is completely unhealthy. It is in the moderate category. And if the food labeling is a red in color, that means it contains lot of trans fat, lot of saturated fat and lot of sugar and salt, and it is not healthy to be consumed. How will I know if my food contains high fat, high saturated fat or a sugar and salt? See, if your food contains more than 1.5 gram of a salt or 0.6 gram of sodium per 100 grams of food, it is called as a high salt containing food. And if your food contains less than 0.3 gram of salt or less than 0.1 gram of sodium, it is called as a low salt containing food. Similarly, if we talk about the sugar, so if the sugar content is more than 22.5 grams per 100 grams of food, we call it as a high sugar containing food. And if the sugar content is less than 5 grams per 100 grams of food, we call it as a low sugar containing food. Similarly, if we talk about the total fat, then if the food contains more than 17.5 gram of a fat per 100 gram of food, it is called as a high fat containing food. And if it contains less than 3 gram of total fat, it is called as a low fat food. If we talk about the saturated fat, then if this food contains more than 5 grams per 100 gram of food, it is called as a high saturated fat. And if it contains less than 1.5 gram per 100 grams of food, we call it as a low saturated fat, right? I hope after watching this video, you got the information about how to read the food nutrition label so that you can take a correct decision in selecting the right food items. And if you like my video, please don't forget to click on the like button. And if you are new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe so that you get more and more health related information. And then there is a bell icon. If you click here, as and when my new video will be published, you will get an instant notification. And if you have any of your personal health related questions or concerns, don't forget to write in the comment box. I try to answer them as early as I can so that you will remain healthy. We will meet again with some new interesting information. Till then, take care of yourself. Namaste.